Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sachinandan Datta, and in this video lecture I'll talk about the marine ecosystem. So at first we will see the structure of the ocean. If we look at the structure of the ocean, it is divided into two parts, basically the pelagic province and the benthic province. So pelagic zone is also divided into two parts, that is the neritic zone and the oceanic zone. So neritic zone, it is the nearer the coast, and oceanic zone, it is the away of the coast. And according to depth, if we look at the pelagic zone, it is divided into different subzones. These are the epipelagic. So epipelagic is the upper top surface of the ocean, that is the 0 to 200 meter depth, and then the 200 to 1000 meter depth, that is the mesopelagic zone. Then the bathypelagic, that is the 1000 to 2000 meter depth, and then 2000 to 6000 meter depth, that is the abyssal pelagic, and the hedopelagic, that is the beyond 6000 meter depth. That region is called the hedopelagic. And if you look at the benthic province, the benthic province is also divided into different subregion according to depth. First is the littoral and sublittoral. These two zones are basically present a continental shelf region, and after that in the slope, that is the continental slope region, you can find the benthic. This is basically beyond 200 to 2000 meter depth, and the abyssal benthic, that is the 2000 to 6000 meter depth, and beyond this benthal zone is called the hedobenthic, and this is beyond the 6000 meter depth. And according to light penetration, if you look at the ocean surface, that is also divided into three zones. That these are the first the Protic Zone, so upper 200 meter depth, where the light penetrates, sunlight penetrates, and this is the most productive zone also of the ocean. So this zone is called the Protic Zone. Then the 200 to 2000 meter depth, this is basically the very dim light or very low light is reaching to this region, that is called the dysphotic zone. And beyond the 2000 meter depth, where there is no light, so absence of light, that is the aphotic zone. A means absent. So this is the basically the structure of the ocean. And if we look at the different categories of the marine ecosystem, then you find that the coastal means near the coast. So this the coastal ecosystem is basically divided into different ecosystem. These are the estuarine ecosystem. Estuaries means where the river meet the ocean, and the salt marshes and the mangrove. So mangrove is a very unique habitat, and a special type of plant is developed in the transition zone where the river meet to the ocean. So salt tolerant special type of plant, that forest is called mangrove forest. Then you find the rocky shore and the sandy shore of the coastal ecosystem. Then the coral reef ecosystem, and it is one of the most productive ecosystem in the planet Earth. And other ecosystem like the mangrove estuary, these are also very productive ecosystem. Seagrass ecosystem, you will find the seagrass is also a productive ecosystem. But ocean ecosystem, that is open ocean, that is one of the less productive ecosystem on the planet Earth. And also on the ocean, the less productive system is the open ocean. So we'll see the rocky shore. Rocky shore is the one of the most also a dynamic system, and here when the rock shore is reaches to the ocean meet the rocky zone, that the rocky shore is built. And there is a high tide, low tide, very dynamic and the very diverse life you can find in the rocky shore. And this is also very dynamic, because always the tide is playing, and so life on the rocky shore is also changing according to tidal cycle. And in the high tide zone, you will find a different organism. In the low tide zone, there will be different organisms. So basically in the rocky zone, you will main productive or main primary producer of the rocky shore is the sea lettuce or the kelp or the algae. So the algae are attached to the stone or the rocky shore, and they are basically found in the low tide or zone, where always the water will be there. And then you can find in the upper little high level, you can find the hermit crab, the shore crabs, and you can find the sea star in the bottom of this rocky shore. Then you will find the lots of the flatworm. You will find barnacles and mussels. So barnacles is a very dominant in the rocky shore region. Then the mussels you will find the periwinkle, and these are basically sea urchin. You will find the below the water in the water. So these are the basically a rocky shore organism that are available in the ocean rocky shore region. And if you see a sandpit ecosystem is also very dynamic and most stable, because here the very high tide is coming, but it is disappear in the sandy shore. So it's absorbed all the energy of the tide, so or the all the energy of the waves. So that is a very stable ecosystem. But biologically it is one of the diverse ecosystem. And this region is, you can find most of them are highly adaptive to the burrowing system. So highest high tide to the lowest low tide, that region is basically called the beach. In this region you can find the during the high tide a different organism, and during the low tide a different organism. The most common organisms are the crabs. The blue crabs are different crabs are there. Then you can find the dollar, sandula, the moon snail, and the marcoma, and shrimp and ghost shrimp and the mole shrimp. So these all are basically burrowing in habitat. And the calm you can find during the high tide different organism and the low tide different organism. And sand viper is also a top predator of this sandy beach shore. And beyond this high tide zone, you can find on the sandy shore or sand dunes, you can find the beetles and the fleas. So this all about the sandy beach ecosystem and their associated life. Then we'll look at the coral reef ecosystem, one of the most productive, most beautiful, and most diverse ecosystem on the planet Earth. That is the coral reef ecosystem. And coral reef ecosystem, basically, it is one kind of symbiosis between the algae. So the symbiotic algae, that is called the zooxanthid algae. So zooxanthid algae is symbiotic with the Cnidaria group of organism and forming the coral reef. And in the coral reef, mainly the producer are the phytoplankton and the different algae and symbiotic algae also. They all are the producer of the coral reef ecosystem, and they are eaten by the zooplankton and like different zooplankton varieties. And this zooplankton eaten by the different small fish. And you can find this zooplankton, phytoplankton also eaten by the blister star and other small fish. And turtle is also eaten by the different sea algae or the sea grasses and jellyfish. And after that, so the small fish also eaten by the top predator in the coral reef ecosystem is the shark. And the morel is also a top predator in this system. And after this depth of all the organism, it reaches to the bottom, and it have a decomposed system due to the presence of the bacteria. So it has the producer to primary consumer, secondary consumer to the tertiary consumer, top predator, and also the decompose. And so with the coral reef is have a polyp, that is the Cnidaria group, polyp and medusa. And polyp, they are very soft body, calcium carbonate bodies, and they are associated with zooxanthid algae. And this algae gives the beautiful coloration of the coral reef ecosystem. And this coral reef is basically built in a very crystal clear water and shallow depth of the ocean. And because its sunlight is a very essential for the growth of the coral reef, growth of this algae. So when in turbid water, coral reef is not grow well. So crystal clear water color will be forming by this particular algae. And availability of food is there, very diverse ecosystem, and oxygen is also very high in this coral reef ecosystem. Next, if we look at the in different zonation, we have seen the structure of the ocean. Now, in this different zonation, we see the life on the ocean. So, in the littoral, sublittoral zone, you can find the different producer, that's the sea algae, then the sea grass, and different algae and grasses and phytoplankton. And these grasses and the algae are eaten by the turtle. And turtle basically eat the also along with the seagrass. They are eaten this jellyfish, then you can find the seahorse. And if you, this is basically the neurotic zone. And in the pelagic zone, if you see, then in different depth wise different organism are here. In the top region or the beyond this epipelagic zone, you can find this phytoplankton, zooplankton, and they are, you can find the largest animal of the planet Earth, that is the whale, blue whale. You can find the flying fish, octopus, and tunas are little 100-meter depth tuna will be found. And in the epipelagic and the mesopelagic zone, you can find the shark. And beyond this 200-meter depth, 200 to 2000-meter depth, you can find the squid, cuttlefish, you can find a lot of prawn, crab. These are the organisms you can find. And beyond this is basically also twilight or the dysphotic zone, and the top portion is the photic zone up to 200-meter. That photosynthetic happen in this top 200-meter. And beyond this 2000-meter, that is basically darkness or the no light is there, that is the aphotic zone. And that is one of the most unknown ecosystem to us till now. There is lots of the organism are there, we don't know. So regularly new organism are discovered from the deep of the ocean. There is a and there is a huge adaptation to the into the deep of the ocean. So deep sea ecosystem is totally different. So they have adaptive to the bioluminescence because there is no light. They are vigorous predator, and our shape is totally different because the high pressure of the water, most of the flattened body. So these are the different organism according to different zone of the ocean. Now you can see the marine food web. So marine food web, one of the most very complex food web, and it is also very strong relationship among all the groups. So basically producer in the marine system is the phytoplankton and algae, and this phytoplankton eaten by the different zooplankton like microzooplankton, mesozooplankton, and microzooplankton, mesozooplankton basically eaten by the micronecton. And plankton and necton, this differences is the plankton they can't swim, and necton means they are swim, they can swim. So then the micronecton, microzooplankton, they are also eaten by the small fish eaten by the medium fish eaten by the top predator of the system. So these are the shark is the top predator of the ocean system, then the tuna and the blue marlin. So these are the basically top predator of the marine ecosystem. And there is also the microbial loop in the bottom of the ocean. You can find all the depth of the any organism into the deep sea or the bottom of the sea. There will be a microbial loop. So due to this microbial loop, the energy return to the ecosystem, so via the bacteria. And if you look at the ocean system, so ocean is also harvested for the fisheries system. And so there is a different kind of fish, so small fish, medium fish, large fish. They are harvested through the boats, and they are also interconnected through their predator interaction. Small fish eaten the medium fish eaten by the large fish, and their small fish and medium fish, they are eaten. Their prey is basically their predator. Their prey on the phytoplankton and zooplankton. And this whole system is dominated over the sun. So sun is the main source of the energy, then it comes to the phytoplankton, then comes to the zooplankton and the different fish level and different tropic level, and then it is also harvested. So this is the complete snapshot of the whole marine ecosystem. Now, if we look at the services that provided the marine ecosystem, and there is lots of services that provided by the marine ecosystem, we cannot fit in a slide, so we divide it into two parts. One is the ecological services and one is the economic services. Ecological services, the world climate is basically controlled by the global ocean, like the El Nino, La Nina. These are the events that are the global climate changer, and the CO2 absorber. So world ocean is absorb a lot of the tons of the CO2, that is the main source sink of the CO2. And nutrient cycling, any type of nutrient, phosphorus, nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, so all the nutrient is cycling, or is mainly the ocean is play a major role in the cycling of the nutrient. Then the waste treatment, whatever so basically we are using the marine or the ocean as a dustbin. Whatever is there, we are dumping in the marine system. And so waste treatment and dilution, anything we are putting in the ocean. And that ocean different the coastal ecosystem like the mangrove, like the storm, it basically protects us as a different storm surges. So during the storm surges, so it's coming the high wave, high wind, and that is protected by the mangrove ecosystem. So if there is the mangrove, so then this is protected our cities. And this is the habitat of the different organisms. So different organism are the nesting or breeding ground is the coastal and marine ecosystem. And genetic or biological diversity is a diverse ecosystem. So till now there is a lot of the species are not discovered from the ocean. Okay, at least 90% is not discovered till now only. And lots of scientific information we are getting from the ocean ecosystem. And if we look at the economic services, it's a huge economic services. Basically we are natural resources basically are depleting in the terrestrial ecosystem. So next we have to depend all the resources for the ocean, like food to water, everything we are taking from the ocean. So food, everybody is totally for the need of the total basic protein is coming from the ocean, that is the fish. And different food, seafood is also taking as a very favorite nowadays. And animal feed is also taking from the ocean. Pharmaceutical industry, a big industry, that all the raw material from the pharmaceutical industry are coming from the ocean ecosystem. Then the transportation, harbor, ports and harbors, it's a huge role, play a big role in our economy. Then recreation, tourism is also very earning a lot of money from the recreation tourism from the marine ecosystem. Then employment, lots of people are depend on the role that are playing on the marine ecosystem. It may be a fisherman, maybe a ship owner, or maybe any person that are totally dependent on the employment for the marine. And offshore oil and natural gas, this it's a huge storage of the natural gas on ocean. So we are extracting this natural gas and oil from the ocean. The minerals, polymanganese nodules, so for the many kind of minerals, it can be Fe, it can be manganese, it can be so everything is extracted from the ocean. And all the building materials, so there is lots of the services provided by the marine ecosystem. So it's one of the most important ecosystem nowadays to us. Now here I give a table that gives you more details of the services that are provided by the marine ecosystem. You can check all those. I have already discussed, but you have checked for your references. Now I have talked about this pharmaceutical industry. So all kind of medicine, it can be anti-inflammatory, antibiotic, it can be antiviral, anti-tumor, anti-cancer. So this all kind of medicine, raw material of this medicine are basically coming from the marine ecosystem. So marine life gives us a life by producing the pharmaceutical drugs. And but marine ecosystem provided lots of services, but there is a huge threat to the marine ecosystem. So it's mainly it can be divided natural and anthropogenic, but mainly anthropogenic threats are much more dominating than the natural threats. So over exploitation of the coastal and marine resources, that is the main threat nowadays in the marine ecosystem. Bycatch, so we want to catch a particular species, but along with this species lots of bycatch, and this is the loss of biodiversity. And environmental degradation is due to this overexploitation of this, and the habitat degradation and the fragmentation of the habitat. Lots of the things are there. So nowadays we are hampering the marine ecosystem. And pollution, oil spill, that is a very big problem in the marine system. And the alternate coastal investment, and then the coastal erosion. So erosion is a very prominent. So beach lands are degraded due to the coastal erosion. Sea level is rising, temperature is rising, sea level is rising, and coastal ecosystem are eroding. Ocean acidification, so ocean much more acidic due to the absorbing of the CO2, much more CO2 absorbing, and it makes acidity, and that acidic environment is also very harmful for the marine life, especially the coral ecosystem is very harmful to this ocean acidification, and that is also a big problem for the global climate change. And livelihood program, lots of livelihood due to this, lots of livelihood program, it's also hampering. And the mariculture, so open sea culture, that is also hampering the natural system of the ocean ecosystem. Tourism also hampering, and the governance, so bad governments and bad management, bad policy is also hampering the marine ecosystem. Now, if we look at this particular slide here, you can see there's a small video that gives you that the 0 degree latitude means this 0 degree latitude you can see. So that is the where the tropical region, the sunlight is very dominant in this 0 degree latitude. So this is the 0 degree latitude. This is the India. This is Southeast Asia. This is Australia, and here is the Oman. Okay, so from in this video you can see the pieces shift. Okay, so due to increasing temperature in the 0 degree latitude, so all the species are trying to shift both the site in search of the suitable or the cooler environment. Okay, so due to the global warming, the ocean surface temperature or SST is increasing, and the tropic region, basically in this 0 degree latitude, the sun heat is much more, so the species are shifting towards the North Pole or South Pole in search of a suitable environment and suitable temperature. So that is a main problem nowadays. So the species shift due to the ocean warming. So that is all about the marine ecosystem. Thank you, and if you have any question, just comment me. Okay, thank you.